Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
Diana Burley has helped define national cybersecurity standards. She's advised agencies and built bridges between research and practice. Now she's been named a Fellow of the National Academy of Public Administration, a milestone that reflects her impact on the future of cybersecurity and the cybersecurity workforce. She joins me to offer some insights from her long career in public service. Diana, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
You have had an amazing career, really multi-sector, across all kinds of dimensions and a focus on cybersecurity. What drew you into public administration and the public space?
I really wanted to make sure that technology and technology changes worked for all people. And so, I often tell a story about my grandmother and me being excited and telling her about some new innovation that was going to happen on the World Wide Web back in the 90s. And she just looked at me like, that's not exciting. And what about the people that I'm going to speak with, that I won't get to speak with anymore, and the stories that I won't hear, and the community. And that's really what struck me, is that as we think about all the wonderful things that technology can do to make our lives more efficient and in many ways better, we cannot forget about the people and making sure that as we implement these new technologies, we are doing it in a responsible way.
It's kind of hard to even imagine, if you look back, the massive change in our lives as a result of technology. How have you kept yourself on the cutting edge of policy and talent?
I read a lot. I listen a lot to podcasts and radio stations and interviews, and I engage with the community. I think that in cybersecurity, especially when I would talk to my students, I made sure that they understood that this is not a career space where you can learn it and then go do it and forget about learning. It is truly an example of a space where you have to be continuously learning and engaging and be excited about that. And so that's what I do.
As you think about your career, it's full of recognitions and accomplishments and impact. Is there one thing maybe that stands out that you're most proud of, or a place where you think you really had an impact?
Every now and then I will hear from a former student, or even a former student that I didn't actually teach, but that saw me speak somewhere, or that heard me give advice to someone, and they'll reach out just out of the blue and thank me or tell me something about their careers. And really, that is the greatest feeling, is to know that you have positively impacted someone and helped them to continue to grow.
And in the technology space, there's a lot of talk these days that technology has a real responsibility in terms of our lack of trust or our loss of trust in institutions. As you're a new fellow of the National Academy of Public Administration, how do you see the role right now for public administration and public institutions in rebuilding that trust?
Well, public institutions have a significant responsibility. It is incumbent upon all of us to ensure that the work that we are doing is done in a transparent way, and in a way that the communities and the citizens that we are working to serve are able to not just hear the end, not just understand the decision or see or deal with the decision, but actually understand the process. And have an opportunity to engage in that process.
Well, you're certainly in a position where you have an impact on that, leading research at the Brookings Institution. Are there particular policies or approaches that you would recommend, especially in the cybersecurity space, to help build that trust back?
It's really all about transparency. I mean, that really is not just the practice that I think is important, but it's also what I believe should be the core of the policy solutions, is making sure that people understand the rules of the road, how data was incorporated into the systems, how their data is being used, really making sure that individuals have some sense of agency and ownership over their own personal selves, We used to just think about agency over our physical selves, but now we have to believe that it is also important for us to have agency over our digital selves. And that to me is the most important thing, regardless of who the people are.
I'm speaking with Dr. Diana Burley. She's the Senior Vice President of Research at the Brookings Institution and a newly elected Fellow of the National Academy of Public Administration. Diana, becoming a NAPA Fellow is a big milestone. It's sort of a culminating credit to your career. What does it mean to you personally to be inducted into that organization?
It feels good to know that my work is being recognized for the impact. NAPA Fellows, and there are so many just extraordinary members of the NAPA Academy, their work has made a difference, and their work continues to make a difference. And that has always been my goal, is to make sure that the work that I was doing had an impact, positive impact on someone's life. And so this recognition helps me to just know that that is true, even in some small way.
Well, the Academy's got its fingers in lots of different pies, and it's a cross-sector community. How are you hoping to be engaged with the work that NAPA has ongoing?
I'm going to continue doing what I do, onto digital transformation and thinking about how technology can help us serve the public better and help us be more efficient in the ways that we conduct our work. And so I am going to engage with the Academy in those spaces and just make sure that I'm bringing the best of what I know to the work.
One of NAPA's big focuses is on building the next generation of public servants. If you were chatting with a young person today who was still considering, a future in public service, what advice would you have for them?
Come, join us. Public service is so important. It really is the backbone of our democracy. The individuals who work in these public spaces, they don't do it for accolades. They don't do it for lots of money. They do it because they believe in making our society work and in helping each other. And so I do believe that it's not just a mission, it's a calling. And I would encourage every young person to take advantage of the opportunity if they have it.
Any particular guidance for folks who might think about a career in cybersecurity?
Be willing to keep learning. You have to read constantly, learn constantly, engage with people. And if you do that, you will be able to continue to move forward in cybersecurity space.
I think that's good advice for everybody. I've been speaking with Dr. Diana Burley. She's the Senior Vice President of Research at the Brookings Institution and a newly elected Fellow of the National Academy of Public Administration. Congratulations again on that election, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We'll post this interview at federalnewsnetwork.com/Federal Drive. Subscribe to the Federal Drive wherever you get your podcasts.